funding from the Hong Kong government's first feature film initiative. So our director, Miss Oliver Chan Shukun, submitted her own script and got the funding for this. And originally, when we were approached with this project, it was a passion project for us because they said it's a low budget film, and all I remember thinking was, well, if this is going to be going to schools and institutions where we could actually open cross-cultural communication, I said this is worth doing. Little did we know that when we premiered in October 2018 in the Hong Kong Asian Film Festival, a few months later, we were nominated for 8 categories in the Hong Kong Film Awards, which is actually the Oscars of Hong Kong. And we actually won 3 major categories for Anthony Wong for Best Actor, Ms. Oliver Chan Shukun for Best New Director, and I was nominated for both Best Actress and Best New Performer. And I'm happy to say that I am the first Filipina to win an acting award in the Hong Kong Film Awards. More than anything, for me, it was not just it was not about holding that award. It was being able to stand in front of people and represent the Filipino voice, because it's time that we took control of the narrative and we redirect this narrative into an empowering light for all the people that are abroad and are also here. So, thank you, Rito.
I only have one two-pronged question. I saw the film 7 months ago, and it continues to move me. What was it like working with Anthony Wong? He's a legendary figure in Hong Kong cinema, and he won 5 Hong Kong Film Awards so far. What was it like working with him, and how did Shukun establish rapport between the two of you?
Thank you for your question, Rito. To be honest, and embarrassingly, it's embarrassing to admit that I did not actually know of how famous he was until on the first day of set, where people were actually following us around, and this was and his reach and his influence has just been affirmed when we went all the way to Udine, the Far Eastern Film Festival in Udine, Italy, in May, where people flocked. The Europeans flocked to see Mr. Anthony Wong. So he is a legend in many respects. And I think the best thing about working with people of his caliber and his professionalism is just that they're just very, very
good.
Good. Very, very professional. Very, very wonderful to work with. Very patient on the set, with me at least, and a very generous and giving person. And I think with many professionals, you can't expect anything less. And I think that's a testament to the years that he's given his heart to this industry. And I have nothing but great respect and admiration for his work, both his talent and his ethics. Oh, and what he stands for. He's very outspoken, and he's very supportive of people. I would just like to add that he took on this role, not a job, because he wasn't paid for it. So he took it on, and I remember hearing him in one of the interviews where he said, because it's high time we cast a Filipina in the lead too. Because why do we have Hong Kong movies without Filipinos when in fact they're part of our society too? Any questions?
Did you audition for the role?
Did you audition for the role, or were you handpicked?
Oh, I was I saw the notice on Facebook. Actually, when when Siukun was looking for Evelyn, I think originally they went to the Philippines, but for some reason it didn't work out. And Siukun said, you know what, why don't we find somebody from Hong Kong who would understand the context and maybe who would also dream of doing something like this, because the theme of the movie, part of the theme of the movie is about dreams. And so she made a casting call on Facebook, and it was being shared around. And when it first reached my inbox, I'm like, it's probably not for me. I think it's a great concept, but maybe, I don't know, I've never done film. I've been used to stage pretty much all my life. So I was a bit nervous. But some of you would know him. My friend Zuri sent me a message one day and said, I think this has your name on it. And it was like, maybe, it was just that moment I said, you know what, why not? Let me go and give them a call. And I went there to the audition. And as soon as I met Siukun, I realized that this director was going to treat our story with respect, was going to show was going to let our voice be heard with dignity. And I said I could not be part of this. Even if I weren't cast as an actress in the film, I would be part of it to share in reclaiming the story. Thank you. Any more? We have room for one or two questions.
Walk through us the audition process.
Oh, the audition process. The audition process was maybe one or two scenes, one or two scripts, parts of the script, but a lot of it was discussion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I loved about Siukun. We exchanged ideas and our knowledge on the issue. When I first got to Hong Kong 12 years ago, while I was working for Disney, I would spend my weekends doing community work with our migrant workers and the organizations that support them. And so I had a lot of these stories. And in the audition, basically after doing a few scenes, Siukun and I just talked. We talked about the issue. We talked about what how I understood these women and what kind of a voice would we want to portray. Yes, Rani.
How much of the story is taken from actual stories of people,
Good question.
Yeah.
The inspiration for, according to director Siukun, and we've been on a lot of international tours together, so I can actually paraphrase what she said. One day she said she was seated outside her home, and she saw a man in a wheelchair and his caregiver who was standing on a platform behind that wheelchair. And she said, oh, you know what? That looks like it was specially made for this person, and their relationship must be unique. And then she started wondering, what are the mechanics of this relationship? And she caught herself saying, why am I feeling uncomfortable if these two people develop a relationship that's very deep and strong? And so that's what started this whole project for her. As to the characters, when I received the script, a lot of it was already in place. Siukun did her research really well, and for the characters and the scenes, we pretty much picked facets that people could relate with. According to a lot of the women who work in domestic services in Hong Kong, when they saw the film, they said they could relate to different parts. They could see themselves in the different situations of the different characters. So it's loosely based on the collection. It's an amalgamation of all their stories. Ooh, okay. Yes, go ahead.
Criselda, how is it possible for us to have your movie shown in school?
I think, thank you. Thank you for your interest. I believe Golden Scene, the distributors, are trying to find solutions, find ways to bring it to the Philippines. So far, sadly, no, actually, okay, in a good and a bad way. We have been everywhere around the world. I have done this tour in Italy, in Chicago, in San Francisco, in New York, in Washington D.C. for the Smithsonian. We've been to Korea. We've been to Japan. We have had a mainstream showing in Malaysia and in Taiwan and in many other cities. And last night at Cinemalaya was the first time we brought Still Human back home to the Philippines. This is only the second time this is being shown in the Philippines. Yes. I do not know. I do not know why, but I'm hoping also with your support, perhaps after today, if you feel strongly about the film, please do talk about it. I think that will make it easier for us to reach the Philippine audience. But I will connect you with the distributors somehow.
Since the
How
start,
has, it
so-
talks about dreams. No?
Mhm.
How has this film changed or developed your dream?
Oh my
personally?
gosh, this is like a beauty queen question. This is so tough. I knew I'd have up close and personal questions here in Manila. It's making me revisit dreams that I thought I had left behind. So yes, when I left the Philippines in 2008, I had tried to pursue other things, and I'm very happy to now be able to do community work in Hong Kong and work in education. I run schools for creative arts for children. And my whole advocacy is to be able to put arts in education so that children and young people and their families will be able to connect with their means of expression, with their critical thinking skills, with their ability to empathize, which I have gladly learned from the theater and my experiences, because I'm the product of an environment that allowed a child to grow up in the arts. So the Sisters of St. Paul are here today. I remember multiple times when I had to miss classes. I started professional theater at the age of 10, and I would miss classes, or I would end up sleeping in class. And as long as I had good grades at the end of the term, they were very, very supportive. Every single show, they've been there. And look, it's been decades and they're still here. Also, Sir Pagsi, Mr. Onofre Pagsanhan. He's been a wonderful mentor, not just to me, but to all the many generations of young people whose minds and hearts have been inspired by him through Dulaang Sibol in Ateneo. And I remember Sir Pagsi, you told me that this is but a means to an end, and I realized then that the theater is not just about being on the spotlight and saying bravo, thank you, here I am. It's about making sure that it's a platform for other people to be heard. Because if you have found your voice and you have had you have a chance to speak it out, we need to find a chance for other people to be able to speak theirs. And I think that's a wonderful lesson that I've learned from my education and the environment in the Philippines. I have a lot of friends here from various parts of my life, from rap, from theater, and I think it's wonderful to pass it on. But at the same time, and no, it's not a but. And at the same time, now that I think I've been at the phase where I'm able to share that love for the arts, I'm thinking now is a good time to see how can I reach a bigger platform, and this might be a good chance.
So at this point, I'd like to congratulate you, Crisel, on behalf of our sisters of St. Paul family. It was a beautiful story. It was a beautiful acting. That dream aspect is very important because there are films that talk about domestic helpers abroad and then the sufferings, then the children or whatever. But you managed to bring out that aspect of the dream for both the employer and the employee. And the story goes on. Beautiful. Congratulations.
Thanks, sister. I will make sure that the team in Hong Kong will know this. We'll get that feedback. Any more? Oh, okay. Oh, wait. Before we go to our question, I just want to also thank a lot of the many people who have supported along the way. Actually, this is Bishan. He's actually, he looks Filipino, but he's from Nepal. He's been my stylist throughout this whole junket. He said, we will not have our first Filipina out there not dressed well. So for many of you who have said you love the outfits that I wear, that is care of styled by Bishan. I'd also like to say thank you, actually, Pam. You know, all my I have this favorite red jacket that's woven by real women supporting women in the community. So it's hand woven in Mindanao, and and a lot of the people in Hong Kong love it. They say it's Chanel-esque, and I said it's proudly Philippine made. And I know a lot of Bishan has invited a lot of our friends from the fashion industry who have lovingly styled me all throughout and made sure I can present myself well. So yeah, I just wanted to say a few thanks. Who else? And actually, I want to say a big thanks to Mr. Rito Asilo, who's pretending to be very quiet there in the side. But you know what? Without Rito, a lot of people in Manila or in the Philippines would not have heard of Still Human. The production team, I think, has been hitting a few walls coming into Manila. But Rito said, no, we will let your story be heard because he believes in it. So thanks, Rito. Okay, Lawrence.
The political and social climate of Hong Kong today is very, very charged, no? If you have the stage to say anything to the Hong Kongers and to the Filipino community in Hong Kong, what would it? What if you wanted to speak for them or tell them something? What would it be?
I think right now we are in a very politically charged situation, and it's a very volatile state of being, state of things, and it's very painful for us to see it happening. And right now, at this point in time, I would refrain from speaking about the issue because anything right now, it is so volatile that it could hurt a lot of people. And so while I'm speaking on behalf of Still Human, I will refrain from sharing my personal political beliefs, although in due time, I do believe that there is a time and place for this to be shared. Sir Pagsy.
The Ateneo High School, Civil, and St. Paul College High School are very proud of you, Crisel. The basics that you learned in our high school has paid off very beautifully. I love the movie. I love the honesty of it, the creativeness of it, the restraint of it, made the humanity of it really shimmer and shine. Congratulations, we're very proud of you.
Blogger also. Thank you for making a grown man cry like 3 times. I do believe that this has to be shown in the Philippines more. Right? What are like the steps that the production or maybe you have been doing in order to make this possible? Because the film is not just good, it's great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. You mean what steps have we been taking to bring it here?
Yeah, commercial. On a commercial.
On a commercial. That's something that Golden Scene, the distributors, have been trying to do for months. and I do not know how it has not yet been taken, or how no one has actually said, yes, let me grab that opportunity to show it in the Philippines. I do not know what's happening behind the scenes, but I do know that it's been quickly taken